Ayo, who made this? Ammo 7 did it again.
Welcome to another episode of Big Eagle Media. We've got a special guest today, goes by the name of Morgan. How are you, Morgan?
Good, thank you.
Now, you are someone who's got a very, very interesting story. And we'll get into it straight away. How it always start, let us know where you're from and where did you grow up?
So where I grew up is a crazy one because I was kind of everywhere, but I was born and bred in High Wycombe and I was there till I was 15.
Till you was 15?
Yeah.
What was early childhood like for you?
It was traumatic to say the least. I've been through my fair share of sexual abuse and trauma and family arguments. I've definitely been through more than enough for a lifetime.
Yeah. So, did you grow up with both your mum and dad?
Yeah, when I was born, my mum was 17, my dad was 39. No one seemed to have a problem with that, but there's definitely a problem in this day and age. My mum was with my dad until my dad passed away when I was 6. He got drunk and fell asleep in the garden of alcohol-induced hypothermia. And then, after that, it kind of just went a bit downhill after that.
How did that affect you?
How did it affect me losing my dad? I feel like my dad was my best friend. Even though he was very abusive to my mum I've seen my mum and my sister's mum go through a lot of domestic abuse, but he was like the most perfect dad. I was his first child, so as a black man, he didn't have his first child until he was 39. So that's why my name's unique, because he didn't think he could have kids. So I was like always with my dad. If you look on like his eulogies, it will say like, we was always together. He was at my dance recitals. He was everywhere I needed him to be.
So after he's kind of passed away and that's what kind of affected you, you went through some more early traumas.
Yeah, definitely. My dad has an identical twin brother who has a tendency to like younger females, shall we say, and I was caught up in some sexual abuse, but being so young, I didn't really understand I didn't understand what was wrong, but I knew it was wrong. I knew that I shouldn't be feeling how I was feeling. He's probably the first person, I'd probably say at like 8, that introduced me to watch pornographic material. He's actually still in the industry today. He's still an actor.
Okay, and is it your dad's identical?
Twin brother, yeah.
Okay, and what did the kind of family say in regards to that at the time?
No one really knew what to say, but no one would say I was lying, but no one wanted to prove that it was the truth either. So we kind of just moved on. We kind of just accepted that it happened. And then I would say when I became an early teenager, that's when I would say the actual sexual abuse effects came out. I was very overly sexualized at school. I was always going to be the center of attention. I was the first person to be naked even though I had nothing to show because I was a child. And I felt like both school and people around me didn't really give me the support that I needed to get over that at all.
So you said you was the first person to be kind of naked, or like sending pictures?
Yeah, I was sending indecent images. I first got caught sending indecent images and was pulled into school my second month of year 7. So I was in year 7 in 2012. So my second month of year 7, I was pulled up for my behaviour.
And was you kicked out of school at the time?
I was kicked out of school in the December and moved to Peru because they told me I need to be in a people referral unit till they found me somewhere. But I was too academically smart to be there. So while everyone was still learning how to use a calculator, I'm doing advanced algebra. So I was then moved to a different school where my behaviour just didn't change.
So you was always quite intelligent anyway?
Yeah, gifted and talented, predicted A stars through tops at everything, the whole of school.
And then I guess in your teenage years, you became a bit more kind of promiscuous.
Promiscuous is more than the word. I was overly promiscuous with everything and everyone. I was trying my shot with big men, like when I say big men, I'd say 40s. Anyone that wanted to bat their eyelid at me and make me feel like I was beautiful, I was ready to bust it open for, shall I say. And I can only be honest, it's true.
What do you think brought that on?
I felt like growing up, my mum was still growing up, so she didn't get to live the life she wanted. So I feel like we were so different in personalities because she was already 17 and a mum. I was a teenager, had no plans on going to work, had no plans on becoming anyone. I just was happy swelling from boy to boy. So for me, it's like anyone that wanted to make me feel a little bit special and could give me that, let's say, the love that I was missing from my dad, or maybe the love I was missing at home, or I don't know, whatever I could get from anyone, I was trying to take.
And it got to a point where you went through a very serious incident that was quite documented also in the Sun newspaper and everything.
Yeah, I went missing on the 9th of January 2017. So it was the day after my dad's birthday, which is kind of a coincidence. So I came to London to see my boyfriend at the time. He not decided, but we ended up in a situation where we ended up in a house in Elephant and Castle, and I was held hostage for like 19 days. I was raped by a lot of people. I was beaten by a lot of people. I was then found and had to do a rape kit. They found a lot of different DNA, but I didn't want to go to court and press charges. I was kind of scared.
How many DNAs did they find?
Over 40.
Over 40 people's DNAs on you.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to press charges?
I didn't want to have to relive it. To relive it would mean I had to go to court and sit and talk about why, especially in the black community, no matter what you go through, snitching is wrong. And I feared for my life at that point. So I feel like that's why them putting me in care, moving me 150 miles up the bloody country was probably the reason to keep me what they thought was safe. So there's a lot of guys walking around London right now free of rape charges.
So, I mean, after you got moved into care, again, another incident happened.
Yeah, so I had a carer. I'm actually legally allowed to name him, but we prefer not to. He decided that he wanted to take advantage of the situation. So he would offer me things like extra time on the phone to my family, or extra overnight stays with my family, or presents, or a secret phone that I could have while in care to kind of get what he wanted out of me. So as much as it was forced, it was also manipulated to me to feel like I was getting what I needed to get by while in care. So he pleaded guilty. He got caught after the charges. He pleaded guilty to rape, digital rape, so that's your fingers, oral rape, and breach of trust. And the justice system charged him to 11 months in jail, and he's entitled to change his name.
But yeah, there goes a big legal sign.
And he's entitled to change his name and protection.
So he only got 11 months?
Yeah, and he's entitled to protection as well after.
And did you try to sue?
I tried to sue the local authority and the government. I went to court. They charged me with a sexual risk order and told me that because I didn't have any therapy, that I shouldn't be around females or anyone around under the age of 18 because I can encourage them into sexual behaviour. They didn't understand why I was from the countryside and travelling to London to see boys. They thought I was a part of some supersonic pedo sex ring, rather than thinking maybe I'm just traumatized and attracted to guys that want to give me sex.
Yeah. And he went to jail, and you've not heard from...
He was out of jail before I was out of care.
Wow.
So he came, he is not on the sex offenders register. He has just an order where he's not allowed to work with kids for, I think it was 5 years, so that should be pretty much be over by now. And he is entitled to change his name, to change his identity. He's entitled to moving house. But I have to live with the actions of his actions every day.
So it seems as though at every stage, from being a young person, people that you've kind of put your trust in have kind of taken, be it your uncle, be it your boyfriend, be it this carer. How has that sort of changed your relationship with men?
I feel like I expect it now. I expect to be abused. I expect to, like, you could be my boyfriend and ask me to sleep with your friend and I'd be like, okay. There has been times where it's just easier to say, okay. There's been times that I've said no to giving boys my number on the street and been punched in my face. Like, sometimes it's so just easier in life to say, okay. And you can't even call it rape sometimes because sometimes you're agreeing to it. But sometimes it's just, you fear for your life so much that it's just easier to get it over and done with.
Have you kind of sought help from sort of women's refugees? Have you sought help from the local authorities, from counsellors to get therapy?
I had a therapist once while I was at university studying my degree, and she just kept telling me, well, you shouldn't put yourself in a predicament with them boys, should you? That was her advice. She says I should just stop talking to men completely. That was her advice. And her advice was pretty much to suck it up. It's happened. And it's true. I'm very much now a shit happens kind of person. But it's not okay. It's not acceptable. And I would kill someone if that happened to my little cousins or my little sister. I have a little sister. She comes out of care in like 15 days. She's going to be 18. I'm so scared that anyone's ever going to call me and say that anything's ever happened to my family, because I'll go to jail, happily.
I mean, going through what you're going through and now having a younger sister, and there'll be many, maybe young girls watching this, what's your kind of message to them in regards to what you've gone through and how they can best protect themselves from these situations?
I can't even say they can protect themselves. I feel like it has to start with the parents. I feel like if I had some sort of self-love and self-assurance, I don't feel like I would be in the predicament I was in. So growing up when my family's calling me fat and everyone's telling me that I'm ugly, and people are telling me that I need to lose weight, and people telling me that I need makeup to be pretty, when guys are telling me that I'm beautiful in my worst form, it was the reassurance I felt like I needed. I want to have a daughter that's so bougie that no man can ever talk to her and she's screw-faced. That's the kind of daughter I want, but that's not what I was. I was so broken and dying for reassurance that I just was happy to take the abuse. I was happy to take the everything. I don't know where it's going to change, and I don't know how it's going to change, but I feel like if my story can make people feel like there is possibility to change, then I'm not even fixed myself. I'm on the transition to being fixed, so people are just going to have to join the journey to watch me be fixed. But I don't know where to start, but we're gonna find a way together at this point.
And I mean, through this is that you've ended up, like I said, being promiscuous and sleeping with many men.
Many.
And would you have a number, or you wouldn't?
I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, I honestly lost count at like 13. I'm 21 now. I've been having sex a lot of years. I literally
Do you mean you lost count at 13 men, or when you was 13 you lost count?
When I was 13 years of age, I'd probably say I lost count of how many guys I slept with.
Okay.
I knew how to ride dick before I knew how to ride a bike. And that's just the reality. And it's not acceptable, it's not okay. But it's the truth, it happened. But there's a lot of girls out here that are lying and pretending that they've not been through things that I've been through, and are trying to live this whole life, this made up story of a fairy tale, and that's not any better than me just being honest. You're gonna have to just accept it, because I can't change what's happened.
And there's been sort of many people within the industry that we're not gonna name names, but
a lot of big people in the industry that shouldn't be talking to young girls. That's what it is, pretty much. And there's a lot of people that will use their blue ticks and their followers, and they will use what they have, whether it's their rentals that you think is their car, or their jewelry, or their AP that the man them have booked for the weekend, to make you feel like you're everything and you're not. You're just a number on their tick list.
And would you actively be seeking these people, or would they be coming to you?
Both. But I'm not really someone that's ever been excited about cars or designer. Like, I'm not really that person.
Did you ever lie about your age anytime?
The worst thing is, I feel like I get moved to less now I'm older than when I did when I was younger.
Okay.
I feel like lying about your age is not really needed in this generation, because men don't really care anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there's many women, young girls watching now who maybe have gone through this experience. What's the one thing you want them to get out of this? And also, why do you think it's important to tell your story?
To tell my story is because I'm someone that's so I'm very honest. It's happened. I can't change it. I'm not proud of it, but it's happened, and God's clearly made me go through this to use it to my advantage somehow. So I'm going to try. But I want girls to understand that go to uni. I would love to have gone on girls' holidays. I would love to have cared about my credit score. Do you know how bad my credit score is right now? Because I cared about making sure a boy had everything. Like, there's things in life that I felt like I missed out on. Like, go get drunk with your friends and you can't remember nothing. Go and create all these memories. Go go-karting and go paintballing. Boys are never going to stop being there.
Would you say you got any female friends now?
I ain't got one female friend to my name anymore.
Not a single one female friend you can call, hey girl?
I lost my daughter due to domestic violence and didn't have one female friend. But if I had a party right now and I had a motive and it was VIP backstage passes, 101 phone calls. Do you know how many people called me asking me if I had tickets to watch my boys perform at Wireless? And not one person asked me to check if I was okay after losing my child. I lost my daughter at nearly 5 months pregnant and not one phone call. But if there's a motive, then I'm the first person everyone calls.
In regards to, like you said, many of these sort of people in the industry, not in the industry that you've kind of been with, many of them wouldn't have known the story, probably would have heard the story for the first time now.
Right now, yeah. A lot of people didn't need to know. I didn't feel like it was, if you wanted to know, you would have asked. If you cared, you would have asked.
Do you think them kind of seeing this now will make them kind of think?
I'm hoping. Because every girl's got a story. Every guy's got a story though. I know a lot of my male friends that have had their heart broken by girls like me, and I've broken hearts myself. There was one boy in my life, and I'll tell you, like, this boy was so perfect. Like, he would not want to have sex with me at all. Like, I'd stay at his house for like a week and he'd not want to have sex, and it would drive me insane. Like, he'd make me want to fight him, and he would make me feel so small by just genuinely not wanting to treat me like shit. And he'd say things to me like, but I want to show that there's more. I respect you more. And I lost my one friendship with this person because I couldn't understand why he wouldn't want to use me and abuse me.
He's probably watching right now. And
he probably feels like the man. He calls me still now. He was still calling me at random times just to check I'm alive, I'm okay, and I'm eating. I appreciate that a lot. But I couldn't understand why a man wouldn't want to have sex with me. Not that I'm not saying I'm the be-all and end-all and I'm the it, but I've slept in this boy's bed naked. I've left bathroom doors open when showering. Not one. Not nothing.
Have you tried to go and get help again? Because you're saying you're trying to fix yourself, you're trying to go on this journey of healing. Is there any way you're looking in particular to get help? Or will there be people watching who might be able to come in and say that they'll take
I don't know where to get help, because if I go for governmental help, it's kind of people telling me that I've never lived the life that I've lived to try and get help. How can I expect people to never understand what I've been through, to give me advice to get through what I've gone through?
I just realised the mic was on the floor, so hopefully, now but I think I can hear myself through the headphones, so I'm pretty sure it would record everything. I mean, like I said, there'll be many people who will hear this story, right? Some will inspire them to speak, some it will help them actually come to terms with things that happened to them, and there'll be many who probably reach out to you and say, look, you're brave for saying what you've spoken about, and here's direction or guidance where you can get help from. I mean, what's the future for you? I mean, even the fact you bypassed it, you got a degree.
Yeah,
I mean,
got a degree in music management, studio production. One step of getting a degree was so I could get in with all the rappers. That was why I got a music degree. But music has always been my passion. It's one thing that me and my dad had in common. My dad used to perform at the Royal Albert Hall. So before my dad died, him and my uncle were very big dancers, and everyone in my family sings and does music, all of us. So yeah, I went and studied, got a degree in music management, studio production. I didn't go to one party either or became a university.
But the fact that you've gone through all these things and you still managed to get a degree is testament and achievement to yourself as well. So we'll commend you for that. Any kind of last words for our viewers?
Saying is, sometimes no isn't always just a no. Sometimes it's a girl being off. Sometimes it's a girl not even being wet. Sometimes it's a girl just not being interested. Sometimes you just have to really read the situation, because some of us girls will just go through it to get it over and done with. So I just want boys to take that into consideration. I don't want girls to understand that you could have a guy, you could be butt naked with this guy next to you. He could be ready to smash. He could be dick swinging. And from you said no, no means no, you know. And from he's continued anything after that, that's a situation that you can go. Go to the police, go to whoever you need to go to, confide in someone, and please just don't leave. I have things on my chest until I was, 21? I'm 21 now. And probably being pregnant and losing my daughter, I probably still wouldn't have been able to sit here and say nothing.
I mean, you just said that encouraging women to go and speak to the police, but you yourself said you wouldn't want to speak to the police.
I wouldn't. I personally don't. I feel like too much in the trenches to do that. I associate myself with people that they're just going to tell me why was I there. The police have given me an order that has affected. I used to be an ambassador for 3 different charities. I can no longer do that now because of this order that they've given me, because I wanted to sue them, because I threatened to go to the papers with the story that I was in care and abused. How many more young people are in care and being abused and has no one to talk to? Is this a pandemic that we need to talk about? Is it something that we need to bring up? Because clearly you shushed me very quick. I don't even know if I'm going to have some backlash for having this interview, but we're here.
And again, guys, this is Morgan. Thank you for sharing your story, and that's another Big Ego podcast.